More and more mock drafts have come out over the last 2 weeks, meaning it is high time that we update our consensus board and see where the best experts around the NHL think that the top players should go upcoming NHL draft. Let's get right into it with pick number 1 in the first iteration of the consensus. This is a slam dunk pick for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and similarly, the second pick in the draft has not changed on the consensus board. Ivar Stenberg is considered to be the second best player in the draft, going to the San Jose Sharks here. As I mentioned in my Fixing the Sharks offseason video, they have some options as to what they would do at the number 2 pick, and I do think that if they went defenseman, they could go with the number 3 player on the consensus board, or they could trade the pick, but I think it's either going to be Ivar Stenberg or the guy I have going at number 3, which is still Chase Reed. Top 3 has not changed from the last consensus board. Reed is considered to be the best defenseman in this draft. If the Sharks wanted to go that direction, I would understand it. And to me, the Vancouver Canucks should take one of these two. I know that Caleb Malhotra is a heavy favorite by Canucks fans to go at number 3 because there's the rumor that his father, Manny Malhotra, will take over as head coach. But these 3 guys, in my opinion, are just in a tier above the rest of the field. So I would be surprised if they pass up on either Stenberg or Reed, whoever is still there. But at pick number 4, we start to get into that next tier that I mentioned. That does include Caleb Malhotra, but for the Chicago Blackhawks here, who are in desperate need of some defensive help, I have them taking Carson Karls, the consensus number 2 defenseman on the board and consensus number 4 pick, same as he was last time. But at pick number 5, we have our first big deviation from the previous version of the consensus board. Last time, it was Keaton Verhoff going at number 5 to the New York Rangers. Now it is Caleb Malhotra penciled in at number 5, with Keaton Verhoff then going at pick number 6 to the Calgary Flames, which I think is a great value proposition for them. Followed by the last player in this sort of second tier of players, Albert Schmitz going to the Seattle Kraken at number 7. And then after him at number 8 to the Winnipeg Jets, we have Daxon Rudolph. This is sort of the last player in this second tier of players who are considered to be unanimously top 10 prospects. Basically, you might find one outlier that has each of these players from Rudolph and above going outside the top 10, but for everybody else, it's consistently these are one of the 10 best picks. The 9th and 10th slots, which are technically going to be in the top 10, you're going to find a few detractors who have them maybe top 15 or top 20. And that starts with Vigo Bjork going at 9th overall to the Florida Panthers, and then Tynan Lawrence going 10th overall to the Predators. These 2 players were in opposite positions. They flip-flopped since the previous consensus board, but they are both firmly penciled into this kind of bottom of the top 10 range. Pick number 11 to the St. Louis Blues is the same as it was from the previous version, that being Ethan Belchez. But then we have the biggest move from the previous version to this one so far in Ryan Lynn at number 12 to the New Jersey Devils. Previously, he was slotted to go 15th overall to the St. Louis Blues with their second first-round pick, but we're seeing more and more people start to flirt with Ryan Lynn as being a top 10 player. Then to the New York Islanders, we have Adam Novotny. He's falling one slot back as Ryan Lynn moves up to push him back, but still right in the same range as he was the previous version. Ditto for Oliver Savanto at 14th and Oscar Hemming at 15th. At 16th, we still have Xavier Villeneuve going to the Washington Capitals, same as it was from the previous board, followed by Elton Hermanson and Malte Gustafsson going in the next 2 slots, which is right where they were slotted on the previous consensus board. Nikita Klepov moves up a few spots from the previous consensus board from 22 to 19th here, and Juho Paparinen moves up 1 slot. After that, though, we have one of the biggest changes from the previous consensus board in Wyatt Cullen, who moves up all the way to pick number 21 from 27th overall on the previous consensus board. Very interesting, as a lot of mock drafts are having Cullen now going closer to the top 10 than top 20. See a lot of 13, 12, and even a 10 spot in mock drafts. He's followed up by JP Hurlburt, who moves up a couple spots on the consensus board, and then Liam Ruck, who is right around this same range. But then we have our biggest drop on the consensus board from the previous version in Ilya Morozov, who falls to pick number 24 from 20 last time. The main reason being he's gotten left off of a few more boards than were previously available, so there's quite a few experts out there who don't think he'll be worthy of a first-round pick, which is quite surprising, but we'll have to see how that goes throughout the process. Alexander Command at pick 25, right around where he was slotted on the previous version of the board. And then we have another massive faller in Marcus Nordmark, who is projected to go 19th on the first version of the consensus board and now has dropped all the way down to 26. And it's not just because a lot of people have left him out of the first round of their mock drafts. There is opinion softening on Nordmark. He's fallen back down in some boards to around the 20th pick, whereas before some people had him almost in the top 15. And when opinion around a prospect is that split, I'm always a little bit hesitant to recommending somebody pick him. Maddox Desjardins goes next at pick number 27, right in around the same area he was slated last time. And then you have Mathis Preston at 28, who's taken another bit of a fall, only a couple of spots from the previous version. Now he'll be followed up at pick number 29 by Igor Shilov, whose slot hasn't moved around a lot over the past couple of weeks, followed up by the other Ruck brother, Marcus. Now, he was considered to be a second-round pick in the first consensus board. He has moved up considerably over the last few weeks. Then Jack Hextall going at pick 31, and finally Nicholas Aram Olesen rounding out the end of the first round going pick 32. So all in all, not a lot of big changes on the consensus board from the first time that we did this. But as you can see, particularly at the top of the draft, there is a lot of consensus around the best defensemen, and there's only a few forwards that are going to be available. So if you're somebody who needs a lot of offense, you might need to be looking to trade into the top 10 to get one of the top tier forwards. Whereas if you're a defensive needy team, you could maybe be looking to move back and accumulate some more picks, and you'll still get a pretty good one even if you stick within the top 10. But we'll just have to see how the board continues to grow and shake out as more and more people weigh in and update their takes on this draft class.